Alright, so within the last week I've gotten a lot of questions about how to play Grimmsnarl in the Ascended Heroes format, as obviously I've been putting out a lot of media related to Grimmsnarl, so I decided it's probably better to answer that in a video, maybe take you guys through it a little bit, give you some ideas of where I'm at list-wise, what I'm using, what I'm not using. The meta does change a little bit, but not a whole lot, so I decided we'd go through that today as a bonus, because I don't coach anymore. You guys can benefit from this. I'm going to give out some of the pages of my guide that I wrote for free on this video, so we'll take a look through those, and hopefully that helps your learning a little bit. But we'll also go through some games, some tech options, etc., etc. But without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so welcome in. This is where I'm going to start today. I want to start with the guide and kind of go through a couple of the pieces that I've already written, just so we can have a little bit of a baseline for what we're doing here. So I wrote this guide about Marnie's Grimmsnarl, and I used my experience at USC, Seattle, all that stuff to write this, and I'm still actively iterating on this guide, so this guide is going to change a little bit, but I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a look inside of it just as we start, because it's related to this video. So obviously there's like a bunch of sections about it. We'll just jump all the way through to the Ascended Heroes part. So, and by the way, if you wanted to look at the guide for free, you can just sign into your Medify account, and then you can view the intro, the why Grimmsnarl, and then I gave an example as well. So the matchup one for Gardevoir you can view for free, so feel free to go have that and use that to your advantage. But when it comes to Ascended Heroes, I provided my list already. This list is going to change a little bit, but this is kind of where I'm at right now. So coming off of the Phantasma format, there wasn't a whole lot I thought you needed to change in Grimmsnarl. My opinion still stays relatively the same, although I will say there's a couple iterations to this that I will be updating later today in the guide as well. I now think you need to play Shaman, so we'll go through, actually, you know what, I'll go through the tech options as well here. So Shaman is a card that I've never touched before. Well, that's a lie. I've used it a couple times, and it's lost me more games than it's won, so I've never liked it. But I think now that you kind of need Shaman, because otherwise Zoroark's a little bit of a handful. I was looking around. Shaman's one of the cards I would include here in the Ascended Heroes list, so I'd probably cut, I don't know, man. I love everything in this list. It might have to be the fourth Spikemuth for the Shaman at this point. So I would probably try the Shaman. That's a card that I would try. I'm also not loving the utility of the bear anymore because we changed the Ultra Ball to Poké Pad. So from this list, those are kind of the changes I would make right now. Maybe the bear comes out, maybe the Poké Pad remains the same, but then we put in a Shaman for the bear. That can maybe work. We'll try that today, see how that goes. But essentially where I'm at with this is that not much changes. So in the Ascended Heroes format, based on what we had in Phantasmal, the deck is mostly the same. There will be some cards that we do adjust. Obviously the Poké Pad came in for the Ultra Ball. That's the one change that we made before. And I say in the guide, I'm like, is that boring? Yeah, probably, because it is. And everyone wants these like cool new cards, but really all we need is 70 HP Snorunt, and then we can basically go from there. But depending on how Mega Absol goes, we could cut the bear for something else like Budew or Shaman and stuff like that. And like this section is really short right now because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I don't think there's a lot to change, and I wouldn't want to bore you guys with any random information. But that's where we're at right now. I think those are the changes we make, and we can kind of move from there. So without further ado, let's hop into PTCG Live. I'll leave a link to this as well in the description in case you want to have a look at it. But yeah, let's hop into live. All right, welcome in. Let's hop into live here. I wanted to start by showing the list that I'll be rocking here. I still don't know why there isn't a way on the web app to expand this, but this is what you got. You'll notice we have a Budew and an Iron Bundle in here. So one of the points I made about my list when I reviewed it in the last video was that it lacked a lot of gust. So this is in there as an effort to kind of not remediate that, but at least help a little bit. So a lot of the decks now are playing Artisan. There's a lot of decks abusing that. So I think Bundle is more accessible than it used to be. So we can use that to our advantage. Everything else remains the same. We're playing Budew because I think this card helps a lot into a lot of the matchups that we face that are like a lot of our bad matchups, Mega Absol, Goldenga, stuff like that. Budew does help with. And one of the factors I noticed as well from testing now is that Dragapult with more access to Poké Pad is way more capable of going Rare Candy, Dragapult, or Rare Candy Dusknoir and blowing up our board early. So what was once a very favorable matchup is a little bit more dicey now just because of how much faster they are because of Poké Pad. So we have Budew in there to kind of slow them down as well in terms of we won't TM Evo. When it comes to this is the same as the guide, except we're going to put in... Actually, no, it is the exact same as the guide. So Ultra Ball was cut for Poké Pad. That's the only change from the Seattle list in here. And then 8 energies. So not going to bore you. Let's hop on ladder. I wanted to kind of get some games up. I realized like I've talked about Grimmsnarl so much on this channel, but I've never actually like played it with you guys. And somehow through those 2 runs, I never got on stream. Probably because my deck was just really, really boring. So I wanted to do a little bit of gameplay, and I know ladder is hit or miss sometimes, but hoping we can hit some new variants or new decks and kind of go from there. So let's hop into ladder, see what we can get. And I think it also does help with this. Like a guide is one thing. So like I wrote the guide, but you can never see how I play through the guide. I can only describe what I'm doing. So I think it might help you guys, and I'm very cognizant of the fact that watching is sometimes the best testing. So let's hop in, see what we can do here. I mean, we got a pretty good start. anytime you see a supporter in your hand playing Grimmsnarl, you're pretty happy. So we can start in with this Impidimp. We are going first. Latias doesn't give much information. So one of like the first talking points I can kind of teach you all through this is we don't know what our opponent is playing, so we don't know if we should set up Snorunt. In this case, we have an S-Ball, and we have a Froslass in hand. So one of the big factors of this deck too is finding Froslass is very difficult. So anytime you have Froslass, you almost want to take advantage of it whenever you can. Doing a quick prize check here, we prized a TM Evo, prized a candy. I mean, nothing we really care about here. So I think I will go in for the Snorunt because this Latias basically tells me you're playing like something fast, which we would want Snorunt for, so like Raging Bull, Jolted Box, something like that, or it's Dragapult, which again, we'd want a Snorunt for. So I think it's pretty safe. Go and get the Snorunt. The only matchups we don't really want Snorunt for are like Budew Froslass, Mirror, and like Gardevoir sometimes. So I think we're pretty safe there. Playing Spikemuth is always fine. We can always play down our Spikemuth. So this is how we're going to get our second Impidimp here. Go ahead and do that. And then one of the beauties of my list, which I will go through in a sec after I pass this turn, is that anytime you have Spikemuth in play, or anytime you have an Arven period, you are able to get Rare Candy Grimmsnarl just from that one Arven, just because as long as you have Secret Box, you're able to get Candy Spikemuth. And I know that is also true of the other Grimmsnarl builds, but most of them run 1 Rare Candy, 3 Spikemuth. So having one piece in hand here is actually really, really good, because it means we can just Arven for the Rare Candy instead of having to get the Secret Box. Looks like we're playing against Slowking, so yeah, definitely a matchup we do want the Froslass for. And this matchup is low-key difficult. It's not super fun, so we might have to go into a Budew here to try and slow them down next turn, but we'll see. As long as we can get a decent setup, well, if they Budew us, then we're not going to be able to Rare Candy, so we'll probably have to Budew them, but just trying to play around the Slowking blowing up our board here. And what I'm hoping you guys can like learn from this is just like the processes that go into playing Grimmsnarl. I think I do play it in a little bit of an unorthodox way, which is fine, but it's definitely a little bit different. So I'm hoping that we can get some games that kind of showcase all the tips and tricks that you can learn from this deck. And I think everything that I intook from this deck was over time. Like, it wasn't just overnight. So here's an interesting one. So we can either attach our evolve our active or evolve our bench. So we know we're Itchy Pollen, so we cannot actually get into a Grimmsnarl this turn. And we want to protect as many Pokemon as we can. So I think we're going to go in and evolve this. And what we can do as well, so we go here, we can use this Academy at night to put something back on top of our deck that we'd like to draw. The question is, they Lillie did nothing. They attached an energy, played Academy at night. I'm not too sure what's in their hand. Maybe we just go for a Lillie and try and set up a lot more here. So let's go ahead and do that instead of using Academy at night with Iono. All right, so we got another Morgrem. Pretty cool. Take that. Did not get an energy, which sucks. So we can't evolve into our Grimmsnarl to protect it, but we can get a Spikemuth to get a third Impidimp, which could be okay. I mean, it's better than them having Academy at night on there. So let's go ahead and do that. I probably should have Academy at night, something that I didn't want, and then shuffled, but it's all good. Let's go ahead and get the Impidimp. And I'm actually going to put down the Iron Bundle here, and the only reason I put this down is because one of like the little ins and outs about this deck is that you want to generate damage on your board. And so with this board as is, we have no ability Pokemon to generate damage with because we didn't get a Munkidori. So by putting this down, we can at least generate a little bit of damage so that if we get Munkidori plus attach, we can do some stuff next turn. So a little bit of a lackluster turn from us here. I mean, we were item locked, so there wasn't a whole lot we could do here. But we're definitely a little bit vulnerable to a Slowking with Kyurem here, which is terrifying. So hopefully we survive the turn, but you never know with this. If they have Academy at night plus Kyurem, we are in trouble. It is a retreat into Kangaskhan here, so I don't know if they have a whole lot. Maybe they have a switch in their hand. That is not good. I would have loved last turn, and that is one of the problems with Budew. Is like you can't really search it in this deck. Like, I would have loved to Budew last turn. That would have been a dream. So it's a Lillie for 8. If they draw Kyurem or any way to get it, our board is cooked. Hopefully they don't, but you never know. This matchup is tough because after this, we're going to have to get a little bit creative on how we reset up our board. So the good news is we do have Super Rod in hand. So if they do Kyurem and wipe us, we can still come back. And like, I know a lot of people would be like, why wouldn't you just scoop here? But I do see a way we can come back, especially with the Froslass in play. So just got to buy a couple turns, get a little creative here, and we'll be able to come back from the Kyurem. But I'm not sure what's going on here. Our opponent just concedes. Okay, so I guess they didn't have the Kyurem after all. I'm going to leave this game in there just because I think it's valuable to see the way we kind of set up and some of the concepts that maybe we went over really briefly will help a couple of you. So top in another one here. We're not going to take too long with these games. I'll try and trim them up so you don't have to wait too long to go through them. You also 2x speed them if that helps, just so you can cut through all the animations, all the nitty gritty of live that we all know and love. But yeah, so if you're starting out playing this deck, I think this is a really good deck going into Ascended Heroes, especially because Dragapult's going to be huge and you take a good matchup in a Dragapult. So this is a great deck to kind of play around with a little bit. It is an acquired taste. Like, a lot of people don't love it right when they first start playing it, and that's fine. I would just advise you to kind of stick with it. Like, there are going to be some games where you brick and you hate it. You just got to kind of push through that. And I mean, I'm living proof that you can basically just build it in a way that benefits the meta and take advantage of that at a big tournament. So like the way I built it is just straight consistency, and the reason I did that is because I thought the meta was a little bit inconsistent, and I thought that going into Rare Candy Grimmsnarl basically won you a lot of games, which it does. So I built it in a way that just maximizes that. So you can kind of toy with this deck a little bit to favor you. They put in Psyduck, Shaman, stuff like that. This is not ideal. Looks like they have a Fan Rotom that's ready to kill us, and I have to put in the Spikemuth, otherwise I'm in danger. Let's quickly go through this. So I think this hand right here is a perfect example of why I love this build so much. So we have the energy. Do you want to put one down? No, we're probably good. So the reason why I love this build is so we have max Spikemuths, so we drew one. I mean, you could have argued I'd draw one with 3 anyways, but we would never know what that 4th card is. And we have the Rare Candy Raw in hand. So next turn, if they don't bump the Spikemuth, we have Raw Rare Candy Grimmsnarl, which is awesome. And a lot of the builds don't have this, so a lot of the builds we'd be taking the next turn to passively Evo or Budew or something like that. But with the aggressive Rare Candy, we're allowed to go into the Grimmsnarl a lot faster. And so like I've been thinking of even going up to 3 Rare Candy and just kind of going crazy with it. I know post rotation they play 3 because you lose TM Evo. I was thinking about doing it now. You just really go crazy with the Grims. Where it is a little bit weaker is in the item lock, because obviously you won't have the access to that if you ever get Budew, but everywhere else feels really, really good. We had a Buddy Poffin come down from our opponent. These are Timbers. I don't actually know what this deck does. The good news is with our deck is it's not like it's a counter deck that we can kind of showcase its power versus anything. So we will play this through. I am a little bit scared of what Conkeldurr does. I don't really know. I think it does like 250 or something if it's affected by special conditions, something like that. So our opponent's gonna get the first prize, which is fine. We can live with that. What I would love to do here, and like one of the common principles with Grimmsnarl, is you would love to, that sucks. You would love to not have to kill this. Anything with abilities in play, you'd love to kind of just leave and like kill something else on the bench so that this ticks and eventually dies. The issue is we got our Spikemuth bumped, which sucks. We can stretch it for this, bring this back. Just debating on if I want to attach an energy here. So normally you want to not, so you can attach a Munkidori, but I'm thinking like maybe I want to, yeah, no. I don't think I want to attach here. Hopefully we draw Rare Candy. Nope, we got an Evo. Okay, that is fine. We can evolve to Morgrem here to protect it from the Fan Rotom, which is pretty good. And we have a few cards that can help us get going here. Let's ask for another Imp. Or actually, we can go for a Monkey as well. Monkey's probably better. Let's get some energies going. Or some damage going. Evo. Alright, so our opponent's starting to do some stuff. Runaway draws coming through. To draw 3. We'll see what they do. We'll speed through their turn. Not too sure what their deck does or how it does it, so we're trying to figure it out. Enriching for 4 here. See what we got. Poké Pad's coming down. All right, get another Dunsparce coming in. One thing with this deck, like my deck, sorry, is a lot of games will play out very similarly. The concept is very straightforward. We're just looking to Shadow Bullet, which is really nice. It's like coming from playing Gardevoir, which I was for a long time, this deck feels really, really refreshing because the deck is linear. Like what you're doing is very linear. It's just like the little other Froslass Munkidori interactions and aspects that makes it tough. Well, I wouldn't even say tough, like medium tough. That's the only part that makes this deck complex. But other than that, it's pretty chill. We got the Conkeldurr coming down. All right, so it does 250 if it's affected by a special condition, which you impose with the Brute Bonnet. Makes sense. Probably gonna happen here is a retreat and a KO. Which we're okay with at this point. Like, we're pretty much guaranteed to get into a Grimmsnarl next turn. And if we don't hit that, lol, but should be okay. We have some energy. Oh, damn. I was going to say, sorry. We have some damage, like, kind of accumulating here, which would have been really nice. Looks like they're going to go with the Fan Rotom KO instead, which makes a lot of sense. Would have been really nice if they KO'd us with the Conkeldurr, because we had some damage going on here. We could have done some cool stuff with the Timber as well. But no can do. So the nice part about this is that they did also have to poison their own Fan Rotom, which is going to do some damage to them, which if we can find a way around this Fan Rotom this turn, I'm feeling pretty good. One thing I forgot to check when we were doing the deck search is if Counter Catcher was there, because we could go for the secret box to kind of do the whole ordeal. I'm going to take a risk here and hope it's there. So it is there. We have Counter Catcher Evolution, so we'll grab Secret Box Evolution, so you can kind of see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to bomb these cards. I think we'll get rid of the Lillie. And this is a way that we can go in and kind of take an advantage here. So since Stadium is one of our search cards, we're able to grab that and guarantee our Grimmsnarl, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and do that. like no other decks have this as part of their arsenal. So we're gonna go through and grab the Spikemuth, grab the Grimmsnarl, evolve it. So this is one of the concepts I talk about in the guide as well. So there are times where you want to go in with more energies with Punk Up and times where you do not. So I'll leave a little bit for the readers of the guide, but basically what you want to do is, depending on the situation, you can attach a couple more. So you'll see me attach a couple more here. And in this case, the reason why I'm doing this is because there is a chance this gets knocked out at some point, right? And Corkscrew Punch is enough to KO one of the little guys on the bench. And I also want to thin my deck of darks just because I don't really need them too profusely in this matchup. As soon as I get one for this Munkidori, we're basically good, and maybe one more, but that's about it. So we were able to grab the counter catcher, so we'll grab up that Conkeldurr. I would like to keep this guy alive. I'm not touching it, so we're going to go around it. Go the Shadow Bullet. As for where we're going to put it, so these guys can go back in the deck. We won't touch them. I don't see a way where I'm evoing or devoing this thing at any point, I don't think. Brute Bonnet makes the most sense. We can take it eventually. I mean, I don't really love any of these options. We'll probably throw it on the Brute Bonnet. And the reason why I put it here is just because, like, the Timber's going to probably evolve into another Conkeldurr, and, like, there's no way I'm going for a Devo play. If I can just go right through it, which I can because I have another Morgrem down, like, there's no reason to go for a Devo here. So yeah, they have a response Conkeldurr. It looks like they can hit quite a bit of damage with the Perilous Jungle thing. So good chance we get one tapped here, which I think is still fine as long as we're able to recover. And now that I think about it, I probably should have Secret Box for an Iono last turn. Yeah, I don't know how much I was expecting the return Rare Candy Conkeldurr, but I probably should have expected a little bit more than I did. They do still need the Perilous Jungle, which I believe they used 2 of already. Or no, it's just 1. So they do need that as well to take the KO here. And there's an Artisan, so we're not going to get knocked out, which is really, really nice. That's probably why they're sitting there for so long. They didn't know what to do. They do get the reverse timber, or the backup timber though, which is quite nice for them. I think that's it's going to matter quite a bit. If we do not get knocked out here though, we're going to have a lot of damage to work with. So we're open to a line where we can go and attach on the Munkidori, then E-switch to another Munkidori, and they put the Artisan in place. That's one less piece we need to find. We can just get our own Munkidori through the Artisan. And because we have Munkidori, we also won't be under a whole lot of pressure. Oh, they already placed it in, so we're good. Because we have our own Munkidori, we're not going to be under a ton of pressure to retreat because of poison. That is a factor that I thought about. So if we were poisoned, and they have the Mochi, it's hitting 290 plus 10 from poison, we would still have 2 turns, I guess, to retreat. But in theory, if they hit us at 310, we would have to retreat that turn or risk dying in between turns. So Munkidori heal will also help us with that a little bit. Won't have to worry about ticking into a bad timed poison KO. All right, there comes the poison. It basically lets Conkeldurr attack for free. Premium Power Pro. Okay, we're not surviving the turn. All right, cool. Thanks for playing that at the last second. All right, so now this changes things a little bit. So now we're in a situation, this is actually a great talking point, where if we evolve into this Grimmsnarl and we get KO'd again, we lose the game. They're at 2. We got to start thinking logically about what we're going to do here. So we have another Munkidori. We don't have a lot of damage to play with here, which sucks. Let's Artisan to thin a little bit. Grab something. I don't want to keep this Conkeldurr alive. We're not going to need other Impidimp this game. So I'm not going to get Iron Bundle either. Maybe we go in for a Snorunt. I also still have the 60 HP Snorunts in here, which I got to switch out. That's my bad. Is there any world where we want to... I mean, I'm going to throw this on here anyways. I was thinking, is there any world where we want to retreat here? Probably not. Do we need to get a Grimmsnarl? Okay, we got the Spikemuth. So we'll probably go into the Grimmsnarl here and try and just survive the turn coming up. It sucks that we didn't have the Iono, and that's my little misplay there for sure. If they have another Rare Candy Conkeldurr in hand, we are in danger. But I'm willing to take the chances on that one. Sucks we didn't get a thing either, a Dark Energy. That'd have been really nice. Burn this Poffin, don't need it. And let's Shadow Bullet. Not really interested in KOing the Rotom just yet. 3 on Brute Bonnet makes sense. But if they put down another Timber and don't evolve, then I think the 3 on here makes more sense. I'm almost assuming they don't have a 3rd straight Rare Candy Conkeldurr, which might be wrong, but if they don't, what that 30 damage does is basically puts us in range of a bench KO, if I'm able to draw an energy here. So if they kind of try and defend this for a turn while they evolve to the middle guy, Girder or whatever, we can at least pick it off for the Shadow Bullet without needing to boss it. The other thing which is really nice about our deck that makes them not... makes them think twice about it at the very least, is doing damage to our active, just because of our power Munkidori. So there's a chance they might not even assault landing for 70 here, which then, if they later get into a Rare Candy Conkeldurr, gets really, really difficult for them to take the final KO because they won't have that subtle damage on here to work with, just because we can heal it all off with Munkidori, and they don't want to give us more power. So we have a Town Store, hypothetically, to thin the deck, I assume. Yeah, Enriching Energy coming down. They do have a lot of draw power, so it is kind of scary. Rare Candy Conkeldurr is definitely a possibility at any point. They also need a Premium Power Pro. Since they benched the Town Store, they no longer have the Perilous Jungle thing. So they will need a little power right here to get to the point that they need to, plus a Binding Mochi. So they do need a lot. Poké Pad does come down, which probably means they're getting something of use. Might be a Dunsparce. It is indeed a Dunsparce. Classic. All right, we got another Buddy Poffin. I don't really know what's going on here. Are we thinning more? Like, what's happening here? No more Timbers. There's another Dunsparce. If you're gonna do something, just do it, bro. Another Poké Pad comes down here. Another Dunsparce. Jesus, man. I can't wait till I get a proper like rig setup so I can do this IRL instead. Just get some people to play some competitive decks against me and I kind of show you guys how to play through these decks in a little bit of a faster capacity. So the Rare Candy Conkeldurr does come down, and the Binding Mochi, and the Retreat. Do you have the stones? I assume if you're doing all this, you do have the stones. Yes, you do have the stones. Classic Conkeldurr game. All right, whatever. I mean, we can live with that. That's if we're losing that, we're losing that. That's all good. But I think we picked up a couple things from this game, so we'll keep this in the video as well. Obviously, I think we learned a couple concepts. So one of the things that my build does really well is stream Grimmsnarls. We're able to do that. But one thing it doesn't do too great is when we're streaming Grimmsnarls or we're still getting knocked out, we don't have a lot of comeback potential because I mean there's just not a lot of text in here. So I mean that's part of it, I guess. Losing to Conkeldurr is definitely not the greatest feeling, but you will lose to some decks here and there. So, all right. So one of the reasons I'm okay playing this deck over and over, even against non-meta, is because the deck basically operates the same way no matter what you're playing. I think the tips and tricks and all like the nuances of the deck are basically the same. Whether we're playing against Conkeldurr or Dragapult, I mean it's still okay to display. So we'll keep the Conkeldurr game in there, and then we played against Slowking as well. So hopefully we can get a good game to wrap it up here. But the intention of this video, and hopefully we achieve that, is to kind of show you how I go about playing the deck. It's nothing spectacular. I mean, I haven't been able to show off anything crazy so far, but I think it's important to see people playing it, and especially if you know this is a deck that you want to pick up, this might help your learning curve a little bit. Like the guide will basically walk you through all those little things, but what I can't show you in the guide is the ability to actually play it. So I know I touched on that a little bit earlier, but hopefully this helps you a little bit kind of figure it out. And if you're ever interested in more like Grimmsnarl content, there's a ton of it out there. I'm not only going to pump my own tires. There's a lot of people who make really, really good content out there. So definitely check around. I think the resources really help. When I was learning this deck, I actually didn't use any of them. I kind of just threw myself in the fire and dealt with it. And that's my favorite way of learning, especially at this point in my Pokemon career where I've been there, kind of done that at this point. So I know my best way, like my best version of learning is going to a league challenge or going to a league cup and just getting battered with the deck the first couple times and kind of figuring it out from there. So definitely something you can do. We're playing against Dragapult, which is really good, so we can kind of show you guys what's going on. Hopefully we get a good game here. It looks like both players have decent hands, so we can get a good game. I played Budew Froslass to a cup yesterday, finished first seed, lost in finals, so that was fun. I don't love the deck though. I think I will be going straight back to this Grimmsnarl. It definitely does feel a lot more fun. So here's an interesting one. So we have Air Balloon in our hand, so we always want to conserve this dark wherever we can, but we also could just draw into Evo. So I don't think I'm going to play the Air Balloon here. We could also Spikemuth to thin an Impidimp, but I want to draw an Impidimp. So we're going to play the Lilies first, keep them all in there, hopefully draw an Impidimp. We do not, but we do draw the Evo. So we got rewarded for good play there, which is awesome. In this matchup, we are very Froslass reliant, so we do want to get into that as fast as we can. Prized a Grimm. We have our Budew. And to be honest, I don't really care about anything else besides the Devo. So we have what we need. We're definitely getting Itchy Paw next turn, so I'm going to play down this Nest Ball. As for what I'm getting, I think we'll go for a Snorunt here. And this is, I might actually get punished big time for not changing to the 70 HP ones here, but let's see. What's in our hand? So we have Arven, so we can go for another TM Evo next turn if we want to. So I think that's fine. Let's go for this. And I'm actually going to burn the bundle here because I want them to have to use their attachment to retreat or put down a Latias for us. One of the two. Cool. And then we will TM Evo. So like there are a lot of times where I'd actually go for double Froslass here, but I think I'm going to go for a Morgrem just because we have the Spikemuth in play. And what you'll see in this matchup, so a couple of things that, again, I know I keep reiterating the guide thing, but I want to just like kind of contrast what I was typing to what I'm saying. So one of the things I do go over in the guide is that there's two ways to basically win this. You can either go through them by attacking them with Shadow Bullet, or you can just play for Devo. There are games where I just don't even set up Grimmsnarl, where you can just go for Devo. I think with the current pace of Dragapult, it's a lot tougher to do that now they have Poké Pads. So I think I'd probably go for the Dragapult line more often than not. Especially the fact that right now my opponent did not evolve their active makes me concerned they may have Rare Candy Dragapults, or they're just playing for a Latias retreat, one of the two. But they definitely move a lot faster with this Poké Pad card now, so we have to be very, very wary of that. And like in a perfect world, if I didn't have Evo this last turn, I maybe would have gone into Budew, just to kind of slow down any Rare Candy Dragapult shenanigans, or even Rare Candy Dusknoir. They're both terrifying. Because here, if they, in theory, yeah, okay, so they have Dusclops, but in theory, I didn't set up my board in a great way. Like, they would have been able to just bomb my only Morgrem, which wouldn't have been great. We would have 2 Froslass in return, which would be good, but that's about it. Looks like it's going to be a slower turn from our opponent, which is always good for us. We're probably going to get Pollen. I assume they're going to use their energy to retreat and Ichipon us here, which is definitely in their best interest. But if not, I mean, that bundle, we can kind of see the impact of the bundle already. It gives us, it created the situation where we're putting them in a tough spot. All right, so no energy, actually, which is nice. So the bundle basically bought us a turn of no trainers. With trainers. All right, so this is an interesting one. So we have Iono, we have Arven. What do we need to do here? So we need to get up a Grimmsnarl and basically set up more Munkidori / other stuff like that. And I would love to use an Air Balloon on this guy to retreat it. So I think we're going to go with the Arven this turn. So let's go with the Spikemuth first. Grab this. What do we have to Arven? Poké Pad. We have Air Balloon. I think we probably go for Poké Pad Air Balloon here. Get down another Munkidori and protect. Actually, we'll get down an Impidimp. And we'll protect the Munkidori we have by grabbing the Air Balloon and retreating it. Let's go with the Punka. We're only going to grab 2 here. No interest in really grabbing more at this point. Go with those 2. We might not have an energy switch in this deck, actually. I just realized that. I haven't seen it in any of the games. That is a card that I think is a staple. So if it's not in here, my apologies. But you get the gist. We can go with the Air Balloon here. Preserve that. I'm going to Drainer Brain so we can start doing some stuff. So the most dangerous thing on the board is obviously the Dusclops. And we cannot KO it, so I don't think we're even going to bother with it. We'll probably go around it and start setting up some damage there. When it comes to, you know what, I'm going to attach here in case I need a Corkscrew Punch as well. So when it comes to like stuff like this, it gets a little weird because you can't ever KO, like if you don't KO these in one turn, there's almost no point in putting damage on them. Like I'm talking about the Duskull and the Dusclops. So you might as well just start going around things. So I think I'm going to go with this Dracloak and try and force him to evolve this one. That way we can kind of put a lot of pressure on this guy because this guy's going to tick to 7. Or sorry, he's going to tick to 8. So he has to evolve, which is really good for us. And since it ticks to 8, what also happens is that Dragapult's going to have, I think it's, 240 at that point? So it's just a couple Munkidoris plus a Shadow Bullet away. So if they hit us here, they just slap us, we can Munkidori 60 over and it makes a perfect 180, so we're able to take out this guy. All right, so the Dusknoir does come down. Curious to see what they do here. They could do some like crazy business where if they have a Neo Upper plus Dragapult plus Hawlucha, they could KO or bench Impidimp. And I didn't play, like normally if you see your opponent's bench is full, you probably wouldn't want to kill them just so they can't get into Hawlucha, but because they have the Dusknoir, they can free up that space themselves. That's why I went with the, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I kind of had to KO that active anyway. But you can really see like how much Poké Pad affects this matchup. Like they're just so much faster because of it. So they have the Hilda for the Neo Upper plus Dragapult, which is not great for us. If there is a Hawlucha, we are in grave danger here. Even with the Luch, you know what? Like maybe we're not in actual grave danger because what's going to happen is, okay, so they evolved that. So that is really good for them. This is something that they had to do to protect themselves from the double last. Because what I was going to say is if they Hawlucha and KO both of our guys, we still do have the Munkidori. So we're able to do some cool stuff with Freezing Shroud and basically set up a place where we can Devo these in a couple turns. All right, so we got a Grim. Well, I guess this works as like a pseudo Hawlucha. Oh man, the double Dusknoir. That's pretty gross. Probably gonna KO our Impidimp here. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's pretty good for them. They put together a pretty good turn here. We're gonna have to see if we can respond. So the good news here is we only do need 3 prizes. So we can kind of get a little creative here. So there's gonna be 80 on this guy. So another concept I talk about a lot is the using Devo plus Froslass to your advantage. So this guy will actually tick to death if we Devo. So I don't have to worry about touching this guy. If I'm able to get 30 damage on this guy this turn and get another Munkidori with an energy, so if I'm able to move 40 here plus Devo, I can actually KO both the Dragapults this turn, which is really, really good. If we still had Arven, I could basically guarantee that. Because we don't, it gets a little dodgy here. So we might have to get creative because we're only Ionoing for 3 and we'll need literally Monkey Energy plus Devo. All right, so that's a piece. So let's go with the Spikemuth here. Let's put a Impidimp down. Since we don't have Bear also, like these are my first few games without Bear, it does make this a little bit more tricky. There's actually, you know, that was probably a misplay. I probably should not have Spikemuth here. I should have saved the Spikemuth in case I Iono into Secret Box, because then I'd be able to get the 4th card I need to use the Secret Box with the Spikemuth, but whatever. We're gonna Artisan. Let's go ahead and grab the Monkey. We also could grab Budew. Nah, I don't like that. Let's go grab the Monkey. And we will Iono and pray that we draw an energy. They have no draw support. Oh my god, punished. Punished, I tell you. Good God, we could have just won the game. I'm a fool. All right, it's all good. It's all good. We can Adrena Brain and take the prize that will allow us to use the Secret Box. At that point, we'd be able to at least Devo this. Yeah, you know what? I think it's still worth it. Let's do it. So this might be a really interesting game to learn off of for you guys. I'm really glad this is being recorded, just as I double check my OBS to make sure we haven't lost it. So, all right, so we can use that to get the 4th card we need to use Secret Box, and we can Secret Box for the cards we actually want. So we'll grab the Devo, grab a Spike. What else do we want here? Not too sure. I think we need a Rod because we're going to be short a Grimmsnarl at this point. So for that, just thinking about if Lillie's is the card I really want here. So we're not going to get attack next turn because the Neo Upper's on here. We're going to KO it, which is awesome. Oh no, we're not going to KO it. So we need a Night Stretcher. We need energy. Okay, good thing I saw that. This is what we're going to do. So we're going to go in with these. We're going to play the Night Stretcher, get an energy out. We'll attach energy somewhere. Not too sure it really matters where at this point. I mean, with this, we can move an extra 30 and put a lot of pressure on. I think we would like to do that. But then how do we win after that? Whatever. We'll figure it out when we get there. Cool. Retreat. Let's Munkidori another 30 over to this guy. So we're going to put this at 80. Make him have to evolve it no matter what. Throw the Devo on here. And let's go ahead and Devo. So this guy in the middle is going to KO. This guy's going to get to 80. And we're going to get some more damage for us to work with next turn that hopefully wins us the game. Obviously, this gets really difficult without Bear. It does get a lot more confusing. But this is a line, guys. And like this is something that when you pick up Grimmsnarl for the first time, you're never expecting to not have a Grimmsnarl to attack with, but you can win from this point. So I think it's super important that we go through this kind of stuff as well. And hopefully this is showing you exactly what I mean by getting creative with this deck. So they promote the Dreepy, interestingly. I guess they're trying to protect their one Dragapult. But they're going to be in a tough spot if they don't Ionos here. Actually, they do have some counterplay here. If they get into a Jet Headbutt, they can Jet Headbutt us, and we will actually get knocked out in between turns, which would not be good. But if they don't, then we can basically win off another Munkidori plus energy. And this is where Bear is just unbelievable. I mean, like, I guess we couldn't technically Bear yet because there are 3. But if Bear was available, we could have done some cool things. So they do go with their own Munkidori, which is interesting. They attach the Luminous. So they're basically playing entirely for their own Bear at this point. Because by attaching this Luminous, it means they're 2 turns away from attacking with this for anything meaningful. Once again. They're going to use this to KO our bench Monkey, which I mean is strong. It's definitely good. Oh, it's actually a really good play from our opponents. They're going to KO... If they have Bear, they can KO both Monkeys here. But then again, I also don't love it because if we were playing our own Bear... then we would be able to respond with just a Bear because we're going down to 1 prize. I know it's PTCG live gameplay and nobody thinks about it this in depth, but I'm just like kind of dotting my I's and crossing the T's here. Go into the Dragapult and do nothing. Okay, so our Munkidori will KO. This is super. And they're not anywhere closer to winning either because they can't Phantom Dog. Drew Boss. I mean, that does nothing for us right now. But now both players have 1 Munkidori, right? So this gets a little weird. We got to get out of this Munkidori now so we can kind of figure this out. Trying to think if there's a good place to Adrena Brain too. Not really, to be honest. I think we have to put all the pressure that we can on their Munkidori, force them to heal that. Thinking about retreating here to get out of a Jet Headbutt. But then I lose the energy anyway, so who really cares? Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot we're doing here. This keeps getting super interesting. I hate not having our own Bear, man. It actually kind of sucks. I'm putting it right back in after this game. But this is kind of how the Dragon Ball matchup goes. Like, I write about this as well. It's like, you try to finish this game in the mid-game, and if you do get to this point, then this gets really, really weird. Because what's going to happen is they're going to Iono you to a really low hand size and create this, like, unkillable Dragapult, basically. And we got to find some way to do that with basically nothing in our hand. Alright, so Jet Headbutt comes in. We lose 1 Froslass Tick. We win off an energy here. We win off a Corkscrew Punch. But, I mean, our deck is so thick, still 25 cards. I don't know what we're going to get here. It's Rare Candy. Not exactly useful. Because we can move 3 here. This goes to 8. And because they killed the Froslass, which was honestly a fantastic play, they played around us using those 1 Adrena Brain to win the game. So we have to do something creative, and I'm not sure what that is at this point. All we have is a boss and a candy. 1 tick coming down on anything we put up. We put up a fresh Munkidori to play around Jet Headbutt, but then they can Munkidori 3 over, plus the 1 tick takes us to 7, so we can't do that. Huh. Yeah, I think they got it. We don't have the Grim. That blows. But at least you could see kind of how this matchup goes. Like, there's a lot of counterplay to this whole thing. Maybe we took the prize on the Budew a little bit too early, but we kind of needed a secret box. We were 10 damage short from wiping this Dragapult, and that would have won us the game. Boss does nothing because they can free retreat basically everything in Jet Headbutt, anything we put up. If we had an energy, we could just attach here or here and double a Drain of Brain to this guy over here. I don't think we made any misplays. We only punked up for a certain amount of energy. We just kind of got into a bad spot towards the end of the game. Yeah, I guess we'll concede right here. But you can see the power of this deck, and I know putting up a PTCG live matchup where you win 2 or you lose 2 of the 3 is not the most convincing thing in the world, but you can kind of see from the major results and all that stuff, like this deck is for real. I'm not a guy who's going to go through and edit out certain games. I'll leave all the games in there because I think it matters to show the true reality and transparency of what the deck is. I just got onto live. These are my first games I'd played since the ladder reset. Or sorry, I think I played like 1 or 2 before. So I'm still in Greninja League, but we got some good games out of it. And we got to see what it's like to lose as well. So with this deck, I think we would probably go back after testing it today to having the bear. The bear is a little bit useless without the second Ball Surge because now we only have Nest Ball, but I think it's still necessary. In that game, the bear would have won us the game. Really, an energy just would have won us the game there. I think we got a little bit unlucky, but that is what happens with this deck. So if you're looking to go forward with this deck, I think there's a lot of changes you could make, a lot of changes that maybe you don't touch. Definitely going to put in some 70 HP Snorunts. That'd be a good start. But I think this deck is really strong going forward. I think if I go to Orlando, I will probably play this. I'm going to keep updating the guide as I discover more and more. You can see from just playing like 3 games on live with you guys, I learned a lot, and we can just keep iterating. And I think this deck is still in a good spot. Dragapult becomes a little bit worse just because of the Poké Pad, and that is scary, but there are some ways we're going to play around it. Maybe we play a Psyduck. We can do a lot of cool things, but we'll start from there, and I will keep you guys all posted. If you're interested, down below, I'll have a link to the Shift Gear podcast channel. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for being here. Peace.